Australia is noted for being home to some of the most geographically isolated and remote communities in the world. While there is no one definitive answer to this question, several factors do remain consistent. Geographic isolation, the relative distance to major service centres, and smaller population, generally decreasing population base. My name is Shannon McClure. Arr, but you can call me the Crimson Pirate. Let me take you on a journey into the heart and soul of rural and remote education, specifically School of the Air. I be having here with me the treasure map to ye true treasure of teaching in School of the Air. So, me hearties, take ye treasure maps by the hand and hop aboard the great grand ship to begin your greatest journey as a pre-service teacher.
It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. I wasn't jealous before we met. Now every woman I see is a potential threat. We can go on together with suspicious minds.
The Royal Flying Doctor Service, the RFDS, had begun its operation as an emergency and primary healthcare service for those persons living in rural, remote and regional areas of Australia. The service had established a radio network that spanned across the vast centre of the country, making communication possible throughout the isolated areas. The children of the outback were shown how to use the radio network. Miss Adelaide Mifke, through her connections to the RFDS and a girls' school, had noticed the vital link between the children's proficiency with the two-way radio and their limited access to quality education. It goes without saying that Adelaide had seen the transceiver as a potential teaching aid which could enable the children of isolated families to engage in lessons broadcasted by trained professionals and also act as a tool for fellow students to communicate with one another. In 1950, the educational program was officially established and named the School of the Air. Alice Springs School of the Air was the first of its kind to open. The program had then spread to New South Wales and other states and territories soon after. While in the beginning the pedal radio was used for students and teachers to communicate with each other, these days School of the Air teachers use high-frequency radio transceivers to provide lessons to their students along with many other technologies. Technology is constantly changing and being incorporated into the Schools of the Air. One such technology is the Optus Interactive Distance e-Learning Initiative. This service allows lessons to be delivered through an interactive two-way broadband satellite network. It covers more of the remote areas which were previously not catered to. The network is made up of Satellite Hub in Sydney and 5 teaching studios located in Alice Springs, Darwin, Broken Hill, Dubbo and Port Macquarie. Also made up in the network is satellite dishes and computers which complete the network with 547 sites across New South Wales and the Northern Territory, including remote homesteads and properties, isolated schools and Indigenous settlements. Teachers at each studio site give lessons by using a video camera and an electronic whiteboard. They then send these lessons to their students on the network by satellite. Their students are then able to watch and respond in real time via a web camera attached to their computer. Using this technology allows the students to have much more interaction, including one-on-one questioning between student and teacher and group discussions. In order to understand how a School of the Air compares to a regular school, we will use Alice Springs School of the Air to make the comparison to what would be considered the normal ways of a 21st century school. Arr, me hearties, we set sail for Alice Springs School of the Air to delve deeper into the seas of understanding. The same curriculum as any other school in the state is covered in full by School of the Air, so that the School of the Air students are not disadvantaged. Individual tailor-made learning programs are also made to suit the needs of the individual learner, including gifted students and learning difficulties. Remote families are getting access to information that may not have been possible without the aid of School of the Air. Students are knowledgeable in and kept up to date with new and advancing technologies. They are fluent in the texts which make up the 21st century. School of the Air eliminates time and distance obstacles to distance education. More than 16 schools now exist around Australia, a network covering more than 1.5 million square kilometres. School of the Air is now moving into adult education. What will the future hold for School of the Air? Who knows, maybe one day students will be able to virtually sit in a classroom through School of the Air technologies. By now ye on-campus students have eaten your chocolates. Now I can tell you that the true treasure of School of the Air resides within you. Not only does this educational context need an effective technology base to broadcast its lessons, but it would be worthless without the work of a teacher. As pre-service teachers, it is fundamental that we understand what it means to be an effective teacher in all of the aspects that make up our chosen profession. After viewing this presentation, you may simply forget what School of the Air means, and you may never be faced with the demands associated with the context. But if you can take only one thing away from this presentation, I hope that you remember that effective teachers are those that are knowledgeable, innovative, skillful, caring, supportive, are capable of stimulating a pupil's imagination and of challenging their views. They encourage students to do great things. But above all, it means knowing what your students need to successfully engage in the learning. It is about knowing the learning profile of each and every one of your students. And if this means that you need to make a fool of yourself to get the message across, then go for it. Do what it takes to make the learning successful. You have been provided with a list of things needed to become effective teachers of School of the Air. But take note, these items are what make an effective teacher in any teaching context.